Hello, everybody. This is Oscar once again from the Side Hustle Playbook, and wanted to do a video that goes over our experience to this point with the Ricoh Ri 1000 DTG printer. As you all know, we bought the printer early 2021. We've probably been using it now for actually using it, running it, probably about 6, maybe 7 months now. And I thought it would be good just to kind of give you, a breakdown of our experience, not necessarily to sway you one way or the other, but just so you have some information if it's something that you're looking at, looking to do with your business, if you're looking to add DTG. Again, just, for clarification, we decided to go with a DTG printer because we were doing a bit of print on demand. We have multiple Etsy stores and a couple Shopify stores. We're actually getting ready to open up another web store, actually using a different product than Shopify and BigCommerce. Testing it out, going to see how it goes. And if it goes well, I'll definitely report on it. But we've been doing the print on demand, and with, some of the the pricing, the margins are always a little bit thinner, right? You're going to make about $5 depending on where you price your items. But you make about $5 per shirt, give or take. And then, you have to deal with, you got to deal with basically, delivery delays from time to time, especially during the Christmas period. So, last year, was a tough year with the pandemic and all, but also, once you got to the holiday season and manufacturing being limited, it was very, very rough for us. So a lot of delays, a lot of emails that had to be sent out to customers explaining, that they weren't going to be receiving their product on time. So at that point, we kind of made the decision to really start looking at DTG, had it between a couple different printers. But for the price point, it was really between the Epson, Ricoh, and OmniPrint is in there. OmniPrint's a little bit more expensive. And we decided to go with the Ricoh. We have, like I said before, a friend in the business, and they've been using the Ricoh and, gave us, a good review on it. And then saw a lot of the samples, ordered sample shirts from folks just to kind of get a more touch and feel. Another one that we were looking at was the Brother GTX Pro. And at the end of the day, that one looked really good, very promising, but I would say one level ahead pricing wise. We were paying almost $10,000 more. So we decided to stick in this price range, give it a try and see how it went, and ended up going with the Ri 1000. And like I said, over 6 months using it. So definitely we'll go over our experience, and you can, kind of decide for yourself or use it just for your own knowledge. A couple things just to kind of note that you'll definitely want to, be aware of is that the unit is quite heavy. You'll get it on a pallet. You'll need to at least have 3. We had 4 folks to be able to pick it up. You're going to need a very sturdy table for it. We ended up getting a U-line metal table, work table for it, because when it shakes, when it's printing, it does shake a little bit. So you want to make sure you have enough stability there. But definitely a very heavy unit. Another thing that you'll want to do is keep the box. So if for whatever reason you ever needed to send your printer back for repair or anything like that, they charge you for a box, the delivery box, which is, I believe, $500 or $400 for the kit. So they do recommend you keep it. So we put ours away. Hopefully we'll never have to use it, but it's there just in case. And then the other thing, you might get 1 or 2 pieces of software. I think you'll get the AnaRip software, which is the RIP software that you use to actually print to the printer. That's their standard. But when we got ours, they've been including a license to ColorGate, which is another program. Does pretty much the same thing. ColorGate, I think, is a bit easier to use initially, and the colors look really good. But we've kind of transitioned a little bit over to the AnaRip because you have a little bit more, it's more granular. You have a little bit more options if you need to add another layer of white. You can do that type of stuff with AnaRip. with Colorgate, we've actually reached out to them. It doesn't seem like there's any way to do that other than printing it at, printing the underbase once and then printing it again to kind of give you that extra layer. But you kind of have to start the whole print process over. So we've been using, both. I would say that the majority of our prints now, though, are on Anarip. So let's go ahead and get started. And we'll start with the pros. So pro number one. One of the nice things about this printer, depending on how you look at it, but what I like is that the printer is always print ready. It is doing maintenance and, checking things on the back end, flushing, moving ink around so that it doesn't get stagnant and dry out. So pretty much when you need to print a job, you can come up there, put your shirt on and, go to your Anarip or Colorgate and hit print and it'll get going. You don't have to prep the inks. You don't have to do, any of the other, line prep or anything like that to, basically start printing. I mean, you're pretty much just ready to go. And so that is a nice thing. The quality that we've been seeing as well on these prints is very good. When, of course, everything has to be right when it comes to your pre-treat and the shirt that you're using. But we've been able to print some really good high graphic, a lot of color type images that with screen printing, unless they're doing, some type of process, spot process or CMYK, you're not going to see. And when you do see it, it's going to be expensive to set that type of print job up. So very, very impressed with the prints that we've been getting. And again, you have to have the things set up properly. You have to have your pre-treat and everything else ready to go. Pro number two. Another thing that we do like about this printer is that you can print on multiple types of products, not just shirts and hoodies. Initially you'll just get the platen for, usually it comes with the medium and then a small platen. So the majority of your adult shirts can be done on the medium. Majority of your youth sizes can be done on the small platen. And that's great for t-shirts and hoodies. But you can also print on bags, koozies, masks. They have there's all sorts of different patterns that are available where you can even do long sleeves that are specific to doing a long sleeve print. But some of the products that we've seen is even like this canvas that you can print on, and then from there you can kind of frame that canvas. So some pretty cool things there. We've pretty much just stuck to the t-shirts and the hoodies, just really trying to learn that and dial that in because that's the majority of our business. When it came to print on demand, we really didn't do mugs and things like that. So for us, just kind of doing the t-shirts and the hoodies is pretty much what we've been doing. And that's been working out great for us. So pro number three, the third thing that we like about this one is you're going to get the 1-year warranty, which is standard with most. So just be aware, most of these printers are all going to come with a 1-year warranty. The maintenance on it is very straightforward. You basically do 3 types of maintenance. Your daily maintenance is basically just getting a sheet, a clear sheet. And what you'll do is just do a nozzle check and it'll just print out your nozzles, kind of showing you if there's any breaks, any, clogs, anything like that. So you do that on a daily basis. Every single day you want to do one of those when possible. You also need to agitate your inks every 8 hours. And that's basically just getting the 2 inks. And I can actually grab them right now. So you grab these 2, you shake them like so, and you do that for about a minute. And then you put them back in. And you just got to make sure, W1, W2 goes in. There are 6 ink cartridges, but the only ones you need to agitate are the white. And that's just because of the molecular structure of the white ink. If not agitated, it starts to harden. So you need to make sure you're shaking that. But that's your daily. And then weekly, what you'll do, and I'll show some video on it now. You basically you clean your station, your capping station. You're going to clean the print head, and you pretty much just do that along with your daily, nozzle check. Um, you know, doing the print head clean isn't that bad. Initially, I was kind of going, you don't want to go too hard and, be too rough with the print head because that is the print head and it's an expensive part. But you also don't want to go too soft. I was going a little bit too soft, being very delicate, being very careful around it. But that was actually hurting my stuff because it was not fully, I wasn't getting a good clean around the print head. And then monthly, what you'll do is the weekly, plus you add cleaning the degreasing or just cleaning the rails of the grease, re-adding new grease, and then there's an encoder strip that you need to clean and get the dust off. That's kind of what helps the alignment, making sure your print is set up properly and it knows where to go. And then just doing that type of cleaning is the added piece to the monthly. So not too bad. I mean, I think at the most when I do a monthly clean, maybe 15 minutes, of time. So, I like to go in there though, and I'll clean the entire printer, dust it, make sure everything's good, go inside, try to use a vacuum to get any dust particles, things like that. So, I think, trying to, just coming from my background, working with stuff, trying to keep it as clean as possible has always helped for the longevity. So doing the same thing with this, but again, not too hard there. And you do get support. You get email and phone support. And then they do have a exclusive or a owners only Facebook page or Facebook group. I'm sorry, that you can be a part of. And there's another one too that's part of another Facebook group that's not an official Ricoh, but been able to go in there. Great community. Everyone's willing to help. So that's another pro for me. Now let's move on to the cons. And I guess the first one, con number one, it's an expensive investment. So if you're looking at getting into DTG and you go with this machine, there are other options. I think Ricoh actually has another machine that's a little bit cheaper that you can just do on white shirts. This one is, a bigger investment. And the parts are expensive, so if you have to replace parts and you're out of warranty, be ready. You're going to have to pay some money for that. So definitely, I would recommend, like I have before, if you do decide with any DTG, whether it's a Ricoh, Epson, definitely make sure you have the volume, the shirt orders there to support the cost of the printer. Because if not, it's just going to be a waste, So you definitely, if anyone's starting out, like my brother, who I've mentioned before, he's kind of starting out with a t-shirt business. I basically told him, and I'll help him print some stuff out for him. But, I told him, use the POD method. You don't want to keep, inventory. And then if it builds and it starts, you start seeing that you're getting some volume, then maybe look at, either getting a DTG machine or, getting stuff screen printed ahead of time, things like that. Because then you'll get, definitely the savings. I think, like I said before, a shirt that we were selling on POD, we're making about $5 per shirt. When we printed ourselves using our DTG machine, we're making about 15. So it's a big jump in profit, which is nice. But again, we got to make sure we pay off the machine and we have enough for ink and maintenance, and we're putting money aside, for future parts and things like that. Con number two, I did mention the support. They do not provide on-site support, so it's phone and email only. To this point, we've used them a few times, and so far so good. We haven't had any major issues, but just be aware they do not have on-site support. There are a few other companies. I'm not sure if Omni does, but I do know that Epson does have on-site support. Again, not sure what the cost is going to be on that or if it's included with your warranty. But just be aware that for Ricoh, the RI1000, there's no on-site support at this time. We knew that kind of going in, but thought that, we have enough, knowledge of kind of working with other electrical stuff. And, my buddy, that if we ran into it, phone support, if we could probably do most of the stuff over the phone. At least that's what we're hoping. We'll see. You never know. The warranty, like I said, is 1 year. You can get an extended warranty. From my understanding, it's around $2,000 per year. So just be aware that it's pricey. The cost of a print head is around $2,000. So, it's a give and take. Do you think your print head will last longer, or do you think anything else will break? You got to make a decision. We still are up in the air. If we'll go with the extended warranty. We're just going to kind of confirm exactly what it covers to ensure that we'll pay the 2,000, but it's going to cover everything, so we're just got to ensure that. And I still don't know. So I'll give you guys an update once I learn as I get closer to the time where we have to make the decision on that. But I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. Number 3, and this is probably one of the bigger ones. The inks are not very cheap. You're talking about $61 for the standard cartridge, and you multiply that by 6. So each cartridge is going to cost you $61. Now, your colors, you don't go through that very fast. You're not going to go through them as quickly as you do the whites. The whites, you're going to go on. There's 2. You have a W1 and W2. You're going to go through those pretty quick if you're printing, on a consistent basis. And it's just because you have to do your white underbase. So it's basically doing the entire image of whatever you're printing. And then the color goes on top of it. And if there's more white, it'll go another, some more white here and there, wherever it needs it on the design. So if you think about it, you're basically using white every single time, unless you're doing something without a white underbase, which some folks say you can, will do with a white shirt or a light colored shirt. I still use the white underbase because I feel that, at least in my experience with this printer, when we don't use the white underbase on a light colored or white shirt, it just doesn't pop as well. So once we add that white underbase, it just looks so much better. So for us, we still use the white underbase on everything. But you are gonna, use a lot of ink, and it's a little pricey, per cartridge. So, kind of be aware of that. And then the other thing, like, the pro of always ready to print can also be a con, in that because it's always doing the maintenance, because it's always, pushing through the lines to make sure, things aren't clogging up, which is great. It's also going through ink when it does that. So if your printer is just sitting there doing nothing, it will go through ink no matter what. So so it really, especially with this printer, I think in particular, you really want to make sure that it's working. You don't want to just let it sit here and do nothing, or else, for that day, because, you're wasting ink. You're losing money no matter what, because it's just, it's going through the cycles and using ink. So definitely, want to make sure, especially with this one, that you have orders coming through to justify it. And you'll find that, we've had 1 week that was very slow, and you see the drop. Like, you see, like, your white ink is down a few percentage points of doing nothing. So for us, it's trying to make sure we're getting orders in and, pushing orders through this thing. And you'll find that if you are using it on a regular basis as well, you don't seem to have as many problems with it, especially when you're doing your nozzle checks always come out much better. Like, they just are more consistent. I found that week that we didn't use it very much, we were running into more little issues with nozzle checks not coming out great, where we had to do, automatic cleans and strong cleans, where if we're using it on a consistent basis, we don't find that, we're not running into those issues. But again, so just make sure you're pumping stuff through it, make sure it's a workhorse for you, and I think you'll be okay there. But again, if you're doing nothing, you're going to lose ink, and then to replace the cartridge, it does cost a few bucks. So, and again, I think it's $61 if you add shipping, tax, all that good stuff, it can get up there. So, just be aware of that. Con number 4. Learning curve. Lots of testing is going to be needed. It's not the easiest thing to learn. There's a lot of variables that we found, and I think initially, me watching it on YouTube, I thought, okay, I got this. And YouTube did help as far as learning the process, but to actually get that experience, see what works for you in your environment, has taken some time. It's definitely a big learning curve for this machine. Or I think DTG in general. You're gonna have to learn and get your pre-treatment down, that whole process. So, we have a machine. We've tried every pre-treatment that you can think of, and I'll do a review on those as well, just because we've bought them all. We've, from Image Armor, Firebird, I think it's Tea Treat is one, SK. We've used them all, and Creek. I've used Creek. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to get your process down, see what works for you, what works for your environment, and then what prints better. So learning that, testing. You're going to have a lot of shirts ready, get a lot of blanks ready, and you're going to test. You have to test your print. So you can run into where you didn't pre-treat well enough, and the print, once you lay it down, it just doesn't look good, right? So you already know that one. Okay, I'm done with that shirt. Then you could get to the point where you finally get your pre-treatment down. The shirt looks great when it prints, but then when you wash it, the washability is not there. So you guys start looking at your curing time. Are you curing it properly? Then you have to look at different colors, different fabrics. Don't play very well with pre-treat where they start staining. So lots of different things to test. And then now for us, we knew that going in, talking to our friend, where he mentioned that he took him about 200 shirts to really feel like he was comfortable. And I'll be 100% honest, it took us probably that much. We were right around that mark. And again, there was times where I thought I had it. I'm like, okay, I got this whole process down perfectly. Get a new design, different shirt. And the whole thing, you would have thought we've never knew how to print before, where we were getting cracking and stuff. You got to do wash tests. You got to, so if you look back there, if you can see it, it's probably like a big stack of shirts on our conveyor dryer. But you can see that's a stack of test shirts that we've printed that I've kept. I do markings on them for like the temperature that I've used, the time that I went through the tunnel dryer, and then we do wash. I wash those every other day, every couple days. I put them in with a load, and we kind of look at what it looks like to start trying to learn. What's going to give us our best quality. Because if you're charging full price for these shirts, $20, $25, the expectation from the customer is that's going to last a little bit. It may not last forever, which is not going to be expected with any shirt, but it can't be wearing off. You can't be cracking so early. So you kind of have to see what it will stand. Especially going through the dryer. Heat's never good for these things, but people are going to dry them. So I want to see what people are going to go through. So. A lot of testing, learning the pre-treatment process has been challenging, and with garments and things like that, we've had to learn the hard way to try to minimize the amount of options that we're giving people so we can kind of stick to, whether for the adult, it's going to be, Bella Canvas. For, the 3001. For women, we do Anvil 880. And try to keep it to that, and then for the youth sizes, we do Next Level 3710, I believe is the number. And then we do the Bella Canvas youth sizes. So we're trying to keep it as simple as possible, where we now know, okay, with this brand shirt, this color, I need X amount of pre-treat. Then we pre-treat, we dry it this way, we print it, and then we put it through the dryer at this temperature, this speed, and away we go. So definitely a lot of learning there, a lot of frustrating days. And that's why we still use POD to this day as an emergency. They're kind of like our backup. We'll try to do the run, and if everything looks good, we send it out. But if we run into any issues or there's a shirt I don't have in stock, and Alpha Broder or Sanmar doesn't have it available right away, we still use the print on demand method. So I don't know if we'll ever go off print on demand, but again, the profits are nice when you print it yourself, and then we can add the branding, we can add the decals, we can add all that good stuff. So, but that was con number 4. So what does this all mean for us? So, overall, the printer is a solid printer. There have been some weird error codes that we've gotten from time to time, where we have to reboot the system, basically just power it off. It runs Android, so it's just like your phone, right? Sometimes you have to reboot your phone. So we've had to do that. There was once where we had an issue that was saying that there was an obstruction in the tunnel where the shirt goes in and out. There was nothing there. And it was funny because it would print the underbase and then it would report that error. So, talking to support though, we're able to kind of, reboot it in a certain sequence and it worked after that flawlessly. It's been working ever since. So, but there are those weird issues, and it's kind of like that's where I think, if you're a little bit of a handyman or you kind of like getting your hands dirty and, working with technical stuff, the on-site support might not be that important. But if you're really like a novice with that type of stuff, then definitely look for a printer that does provide on-site support or has a better way to help you and do, the print heads. These print heads are expensive, but, and it's something that, it can be changed out, but you want to be comfortable with that. So if that's something that you're definitely going to want to look for some on-site support being provided to you. So, overall, I think we are pretty much happy with it. There's been some frustrating days here and there. I think a lot of it, though, is probably on us, just kind of not knowing the process properly. But then there's been some times where, we've had a print job and you can see the shirt through it. And it's like, okay, we got to add more pre-treat. So we add more pre-treat. And we still just can't get the consistency that we wanted on the print. So some folks have told, then we kind of go in the groups and we kind of sort it out. But there have been some where we never get the quality that we quite wanted. So we're trying different shirts. We're trying, now AS colors come into the play just because we've heard some good things about their shirts being such high quality that the pre-treat prints much better, sits much better. And then when you print on top of that, it prints much better. So, looking at stuff like that. But I think, for you guys, I guess the question for us would be, would we buy it again? Right. And being honest, I may not, and it's not, again, we're using it, we're producing stuff out of it, but I might have waited and seen if, maybe moving up to one level higher to like a Brother GTX Pro, if that might have been a better fit for us down the road. It's more of a, I think it's a little bit higher end. But again, I don't know. At the time, we didn't have the money to justify that and the orders to justify that. So, but overall, like I said, if I were to give it like from 1 to 10, we'd probably give it a 6.5, maybe a 7. It's up there. It's like I said, it's doing okay for us. But again, I'm hoping in the next 6 months, we'll figure it out, right? It's either going to be, is it more things that we're doing that are, maybe not the best way to do it, or is it just the printer? So, speaking with my, our friend who has one, he kind of mentioned some of the same things here and there, but he's kind of dialed it in on his end and kind of makes adjustments. So, we'll keep going with it. We're going to keep using it. Like I said, when everything's working and you got it dialed in and you got your pre-treat right and that you get a good print, it's a great feeling, and the profits are nice. So, overall, like I said, well, we're like at a 6.5 to a 7. And if we were back in the same spot though, where the, saving more money or, putting more away isn't an option, we're still happy with this, because I still see, you'll still see if you go onto any of there's a couple of DTG boards and stuff, you're going to see people having the same type of issues with the Epson, then with the Ricoh, you see the same. I probably will say that, being completely transparent, that Epson probably has a little bit, at least less comments there, or negative ones. But I think you still run into the same stuff. In my opinion, when it comes down to if you get this machine or any other machine, and this is just me, trying to, being honest in my experience with other like machines and printers and anything technical that has a computer. Maintenance is huge. If you stay up with your maintenance, it's going to help you no matter what. If you are using it on a regular basis, the machine's going to perform better. And, you got to be cleaning it. Keep it clean. Keep it, where it's running top notch. So if you have to grease it, whatever their recommended maintenance is. But for me, I even go around, get the vents, take dust out of the vents, try to keep it as clean as possible. And I think if you do something, if you're doing that type of stuff, whatever machine you go with will last you longer. So again, this wasn't a review to bash it either way, yay or nay. It was more just to, for anybody out there that's looking, just to see, hey, this is what we're going through. This is our experience with it. And, if it's something that you're considering it, just really put some good thought in there and make sure that your numbers add up as far as the amount of business that you're getting. And if that all comes down together, definitely take the plunge. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can go to our website at sidehustleplaybook.biz. You can also reach out to us on Facebook, join our page, and feel free to ask us anything, or you can comment here on YouTube, and we'll definitely help you out in any which way. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. And again, any questions, feel free to let us know, and we'll see you next time. Hope you guys are all doing great with your side hustles, and we'll see you on the next one.